horse lovers. I'm Coach Christy, and this is Vanna. What we would like to talk to you guys about today are hindquarter yields. The first part of this video is to explain how important it is to understand that horses are contextual learners. So anytime we ask for a specific yield in a different way or for a different reason, for your horse, it is potentially a brand new conversation. And the better that we can prepare our horses for all the different kinds of conversations we might have with them, the less misunderstandings that we might have. So today I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can develop your hindquarter yields. The hindquarter yield is used in lots of very advanced maneuvers. It's everything that's required for haunches in. It's a big component of side passes. It's a big component of any lateral maneuver, as well as flying lead changes. So the better your hindquarter yields are in every which context you can think of, the easier those high-level maneuvers will come to you when you're ready. So today what I want to show you though are some real simple basics. We're going to talk about hindquarter yields at the halt, then we're going to talk about them to a halt, and then hindquarter yields in motion. Okay? So the biggest thing to understand is that yes, there are ways to yield the hindquarters that disengages the horse's engine, but there's also ways to yield the hindquarters that engage the horse's engine and helps them to find their balance. Okay, so the first thing is to understand what an important role flexion plays in your hindquarter yields in every maneuver that you ask of your horse. Shaping them to be able to do that maneuver is the first step to success. So when it comes to hindquarter yield, the flexion we're looking for is lateral. And whether or not we want at the halt, to a halt, or while maintaining gait will tell us how much flexion we want to have. Excuse me. So if I want to perform the hindquarter yield at the halt, it's perfectly acceptable for me to have some really deep flexion, right? So she can have her nose clear over here, and it's not going to get in her way of being able to yield her hindquarters. So if I bring the rein up here and bring my leg back and touch her on the side, she should yield the hindquarters, and the front end should stay primarily stationary. I'll show you on this side. Nice and light in the face, up to here, leg back, yield the hindquarters. There you go. That's my girl. Now, if she didn't yield her hindquarters, I'd take this stick and I'd bring it up over my head and I'd tap her on the bum every 3 seconds until I got a response. When it's nice and light with the reins, then it's fun to play around with it. Can I get it without the reins? So can I, again, get a little tip of the nose, bring my leg back, and with minimal use of the reins, ask the hindquarters to yield. Now she's traveling forward a bit much. There we go. So then I'll support what I want by hustling her a little bit with my stick. The more effort she puts into yielding the hindquarters, the harder it will be for her to travel forward. Now I'll try it again on this side. I first need her to look this way. There we go. I'm going to bring my leg back, yield and ask her to more hindquarters, darlings, and less forequarters. There we go. So I had to use the reins a little bit there to make myself understood. So I'm going to let her soak on that a second, and then we'll try it again. Good girl. There we go. Get the flexion. I can use my reins to impede undesired forward motion. There we go. Not quite getting it, so I'm going to use my stick now. The footing got in our way a little bit there. Every 3 seconds until she yields the hindquarters. It's kind of a Coke bottle turn happening there, so it's good that that will help me show you what it looks like when it's not working perfectly. I'll let her soak a second, and then let's try again. That's it. Not forward, darling. Not forward, darling. There we go. There we go. Good. That was some progress, but she's done it better than that before, so I'm going to go ahead and ask for it one more time. this way. There you go. Yield the hindquarters. There we go. There we go. Now we've got some understanding, okay? So I would, on a scale of 1 to 10, give her hindquarter yields with the reins 7 to 8, right? 7 is functional. 8, 9, and 10 are degrees of fancy. And 6 and below means it could use some work. Without the reins, on the left side, I would give her a 7. And on the right side, I'd give her somewhere between a 5 and a 6. So we need to spend a little time playing with that, okay? Now, let's talk about playing with hindquarter yields to a halt. A fun little game to play is to go to your rail, get a nice forward walk, follow the rail, and then pick out a post that you'd like to have her turn and put her nose on. I'm going to do it with my reins first. This is the post. Yield the hindquarters. Whoopsie. I pushed too hard. That's what happened there. And then relax. With her nose pointed at the post that you were aiming for. There we go. Now we can go this way. I'm going to aim for that post right there. Start planning my route. Tip the nose. Yield the hindquarters. Ooh, that is really nice on the left rein. Good girl. There we go. So I'm going to do it again on the right rein because it wasn't as good. So on the left rein, I'd give that a 7 with the reins. On the right rein, it was probably 5. That was better. That was better. We went to probably 6.5 there. Good girl. It was a little heavy in my hands, which is why I wouldn't give it a 7 just yet. Then once that's working for you at 7s or higher, then it's fun to try it without the reins. So since she got a 7 on the left rein, I can aim for see if I can get it on this side without needing to use my reins. Turn my shoulders, yield my hindquarters. Boop. She just missed it by about 2 strides. So I tapped her on the neck there to let her know that she was about to get off track. I'll let her soak. Ew. And then I'm going to do it again with my reins on this side because we didn't get a 7 on this side. I aim for the same post. Tip the nose, yield the hindquarters. That was really close to 7. Lick and chew right away, so that lets us know that we're not making her defensive or worried. Try it once more on this side without the reins. Turn my shoulders, focus. Oh, I just started too soon. Woo, that was good. That was at least a 7. We overshot it a little bit, but that was my doing, not hers. Okay, so that's a fun exercise to start building in there. Hindquarter yields to a halt. All right, then the next thing you might try is, can I use hindquarter turns for turning, or hindquarter yields for turning? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to ride about a 15-meter circle. But the goal is that I'm going to pick my line here by yielding my hindquarters. So when I want the nose to come to the left, I bring my left leg back. And then if she turns too far in, I'll counter that by bringing my right leg back. So right about here is my circle. I can see it in my imagination. My goal is that if she stays on my circle, my legs stay in neutral. If she gets off my circle, then I let her know that she's about to leave the boat there. I want you to stay in the boat. Right now, the boat is made up of my seat and my legs. So that circle was a little flat on that side, so we'll just keep going here until she recognizes where the boundaries are and puts a bit more effort into staying in them. There we go. Watch my shoulders too. Like whenever she's off track, they're counter steering. All this snow here lets you know that I'm good at counter steering. I grew up here in Iowa where you have to learn to counter steer if you ever get into a sliding situation in your vehicle. So there were there we're going a little off track. She was ignoring my legs, so I was going to direct her nose a bit, but she worked it out. There we go. We just start these things at the walk. We're just messing around. No big deal. There we go. There we go. My shoulders will tell you just about where she is on whether or not she's following my circle. She's not there. There we go. That's working. Good. So now that she's following my focus going to the left, maybe I can do a little teardrop there, just using my focus and my legs. Boop, she's ignoring me a little bit there. No, not too much. Now we'll just do the same thing, just going to the right. Using my legs for corrections. What's interesting is she's much better to the right, where on the hindquarter yield to a halt, she was better on the left. All right, that's starting to feel real good. Okay, so we just wanted to give you some ideas on some ways to advance your hindquarter yields. Developing them first at the halt is a great place to start, and even when you get it working really well for you, where it's very light, they're very responsive, and it's all real good, you still have a lot more that you could do with your basic yields. So I hope that gives you some stuff to consider and work on. If you ever feel like you get stuck in your horsemanship journey, please reach out to me anytime you like. You can find my contact information at my website. My website is thecoachchristy.com. Christy is spelled K-R